I might actually know nothing about the NFL. Welcome back to the Green Beans Go channel. It's your host, me, back with another set of rankings. And guys, I'll just be completely honest. Every time I feel confident about a set of rankings that I put out in one of these videos, Sunday rolls around and I scratch my head and I say, what was I thinking? So that's what we're doing again today. Sunday was full of upsets. It's full of teams that I thought would win that are losing. It's just chaos, and it's going to be even more chaos as we head to the playoffs. Before we get started with the rankings, my newest video talks about the college football playoff and where I think the committee made some mistakes. If you're here because of that video, welcome. I'm glad to have you. We do all kinds of content on the Green Beans Go channel. So if you are not subscribed and you like sports content, news, and especially smoking hot takes, make sure you subscribe. It helps me out. And the last thing I'm going to say is give me some grace with these rankings. There are 11 teams in the AFC fighting for a playoff spot, and there are 9 teams in the NFC, maybe 10 teams in the NFC if you want to count Tampa Bay, fighting for a playoff spot. So this is going to get messy in the next few weeks. So as always, the categories are Super Bowl conversation, comfy playoffs, 6-11 wins the draft. And although the Cardinals did get a win this week against the Steelers, we are going to put them in the wins the draft category. I've talked negatively about the Falcons the last 8 weeks of this NFL season, but they're now leading the division. The Saints have fallen off. Tampa Bay looks inconsistent. So it looks like the Falcons are the front runner for the NFC South, so we're going to put them in comfy playoffs for now. The Ravens did have a bye this week, but I'm going to slot them into Super Bowl conversation. While the AFC seems to be a little deeper in terms of good teams, it's less top-heavy than the NFC, so I think the Ravens have a good shot to run the tables in the AFC. The Bills have a lot of work to do themselves, and also they need a lot of help from other teams, so we will put them in the category, but they are certainly on the outside looking in. The Panthers almost got a win, but almost does not count in the NFL. The Chicago Bears are 4-8. They will probably win 2 more. They do also have the draft pick from Carolina, so that's going to help them a lot. So 6-11 for the Bears. They're set up pretty well for the future, I think. Putting up 31 in Jacksonville on Monday night is no small feat. However, I just don't think their schedule looks promising, so we will put the Bengals in 6-11. I do not believe they will make the playoffs. The Cleveland Browns keep finding ways to lose, although Joe Flacco did look somewhat competent in the first half of that Rams game. I still think this team deserves the category, considering right now, if the NFL ended today, they would be in the playoffs in that 7th spot. The Cowboys played a shootout at home against Seattle on Thursday night. And while we do have some contenders with the 49ers and the Eagles in the NFC, I have a lot of faith in this Dallas Cowboys team, and I think they could make a legitimate run. The Broncos really needed a win against a conference opponent in the Texans this week. They did not pull it off, so I will put them in the category. They still have a shot to make the playoffs, although they are on the outside looking in. The Lions will win the NFC North and make the playoffs. You know what I had for breakfast this morning? Crow. I ate crow. The Packers might make the playoffs, and I had counted them out. I'm sorry. The Texans are on the losing end of some tiebreakers right now that may cost them a playoff spot. Losing Tank Dell for the year is a massive blow to this offense. I still think they can find a way to make it to the playoffs, but it's not comfortable right now, so for the Texans. I'm going to make a somewhat bold prediction here and say that with the Colts' remaining schedule, with their record right now, and with some division injuries creeping up on some of these teams that they do have to play again, I think the Colts are in a really, really, really nice spot to make the playoffs as a wildcard team this year. So I will put the Colts in comfy playoffs, something to keep your eye on. I know their game was close against Tennessee. I know they almost lost that game to Tennessee, but this team always finds a way to win. So comfy playoffs for the Colts. There are a lot of questions right now around the Jacksonville Jaguars. They lost what should have been a pretty easy win last night against Cincinnati at home. CJ Beathard came in and looked competent, so should they be able to win a few games with him if Trevor Lawrence misses time? I think so. I do think this team has done enough at the beginning of the season to make the playoffs, so I'm going to slot them into comfy playoffs. Trevor Lawrence's injury is a big one. Keep your eye on this team. The Chiefs lose to the Green Bay Packers on Sunday night, and I've said it once, okay? And what's funny is I was so wrong about Green Bay, but I've been so right about Kansas City. It's not the same team, okay? So, AG, comment it. Go ahead. Chiefs to the Super Bowl. It's not happening. It's not happening. But they will make the playoffs. The Chargers managed to put up 2 field goals in a win against the Patriots. Ugh. The Rams have now leapfrogged Seattle in the playoff standings, so I got to respect it. The Rams are definitely in the category. I don't see a realistic shot for the Raiders to make the playoffs. They have 5 wins right now. They'll probably get to 7, so 6-11 for the Raiders. I'm going to go on record right now and say that in the last 5 games, the Dolphins will win their first 2 and lose their last 3. They will still make the playoffs, but I think there's going to be a lot of negative comments. The Vikings would be in the playoffs if the season ended now, and I do think they find a way to make the playoffs. I don't think it's comfy yet, but I do think they get the job done. So give me the category for the Vikings. Wins the draft for the Giants. The Patriots are also preparing for April. I believed in the Saints. I thought their defense was good enough to carry them to a playoff run. But right now, it's not looking that way. Their offense can't do anything. Yes, they've had some injuries. I understand that. However, they are only 1 game back from the Falcons, who, again, I've not been impressed with. So we'll put them in the category, and I think they could leapfrog the Falcons if they get some results in the next few weeks. I really had to sit down and think about the Eagles this week with their not only loss, but horrendous loss at home to the 49ers. Is this Eagles team a Super Bowl conversation team? I think the AFC holds 3 out of the top 4 teams in the NFL. Okay, I think the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the 49ers are 3 of the top 4 teams in the NFL. And they're showing there's no excuses. I can't sit here and say, well, they were on the road. Well, they had injuries. Well, they just lost the game, and they lost the game bad. So I'm going to do what's right, and I'm going to put them in comfy playoffs. But I do, if you tell me right now that this team will be in the Super Bowl, I won't argue with you. But I don't have much confidence after what I saw on Sunday afternoon. Kenny Pickett's injured. Mitch Trubisky comes in. They lose at home to the Cardinals. This may be where we start to see the AFC North show some signs of cracking. However, they're right there with all these other teams, so we will put them in the category. Maybe Mitch Trubisky is the guy. Maybe he can get it done. Seattle's cooked. They're done. You see behind me? Yeah, I know. I know when a team is cooked, and I know when my team is cooked, and it's over. 6-11 for Seattle. The playoffs are as good as gone. If last week I have the Eagles in Super Bowl conversation and the Niners come in and beat them, it is only right that I put the Niners in Super Bowl conversation. I hate to do it. It kills me to do it. And I'm going to go on a small rant here. I think this team is beatable when a team has prep. I don't think Brock Purdy is a playmaker. I think he is a product of a system like we saw with Kansas City. Okay, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce thrived in a system more than they thrived as playmakers. That's a hot take. I don't care, okay? And I think Brock Purdy, a lot of his passes are 2 and 3 yards down the field. They're screens, they're sweeps, they're reverses. I think if a team comes in and is able to play man coverage and play in their face and prep for that, I think this team can be beat. But whatever. Super Bowl conversation to appease the masses. Tampa Bay has a shot, I guess, although it's probably not realistic, so we'll put them in 6-11. The Tennessee Titans may as well just start preparing for the draft. And so should the Washington Commanders. Taking a look at our movers, shakers, and money makers this week, surprisingly a lot of yellow. I was sitting here saying there's going to be a lot of changes, and you see a lot of things are staying pretty consistent. The only change in Super Bowl conversation is that the 49ers move up and the Eagles move down, which I think is totally fair seeing what we saw on Sunday. In comfy playoffs, we have the Falcons and the Colts, which both move up. A little bit of bold predictions. I need to actually make an assertion here, so that's what I've done. As for this may be the first video all year where the category has no newcomers at all. We see no change to any of these teams. These will be your wild card teams. As for 6-11, somehow if the Jets lose and move up, guys, I don't know. Don't ask me about the Jets. I don't really want to talk about the Jets anymore this year. And the Seahawks do move down. They have the 49ers and the Eagles in the next 2 games. They're going to lose both of those, and their season is going to be over. As for wins the draft, a lot of no changes again, but the Titans move down. I just don't see a way that they really care about the rest of this year. Thank you guys for stopping by and watching the content. If you want your team to make the playoffs, hit that subscribe button. It's the only way to guarantee the team you root for making the playoffs. I'm just trying to help you out. Go ahead and hit that button because remember, we can't get a new candle till 1,000 subscribers, and boy, is that candle about to burn out. We'll see you next time.